Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to the Western Shore. It is the 5th day of winter. Ill will, you're saying, why is there a big pile of snow in this field? I sped through 2 days. Last day we were working was day 3 of winter. I went ahead and skipped through to the morning of the 5th day of winter. Still taking care of the animals, taking care of our business, and it snowed. It snowed this morning, so I logged out of the game, quit out of the game. I went online and found some plows and some gritters and a bunch of other stuff. I brought those mods in. They were all terrible. They didn't work well, so I just used the telehandler and cleared a path and was going to do an episode about plowing snow and that sort of thing. And then it melted. So that's fantastic. Right. I was told that it doesn't snow a lot on the Western Shore, but it snows sometimes because it just snowed for me. Not a big deal. I did enjoy the variety. Never been much of a fan of plowing snow. Always seemed kind of gimmicky to me. I prefer farming when I farm, but hey, what can you do? Let's take a look at the map. We got all of our new fields done, so that is going to be 62, 54, 62, 55, and 64. Those are done, and if we go back this way, they all got manure, and then with our hard manure mod, that counted as 2 layers when we cultivated it in. They've all been plowed, so those are going to be fantastic come springtime. 50 and 51, we put compost on there. I wasn't sure if the hard manure mod, man, I'm having a hard time speaking already. It's Friday. That's what I blame it on. We used the hard manure mod, and we threw compost on here. I was curious if it would count as double, and it did. So 50 and 51 are converted fields, formerly grass fields, now arable fields. They have 2 layers of fert as well, and they have the plow buff, 10%, and everything has been cultivated. So these are all ready to receive seed come first day of spring or whenever it is that we can plant the crops that we're going to put in there. I think we're going to do a couple canola, 1 root crop, and some corn, and those will all be planted at different times during the summer. During the spring. Yeah. So the other thing I did is I put away it appears there is a tree hovering in the sky. You see that? A ghostly tree. Oh, game. Oh, Friday. What can you do? I put away our Lemkin cultivator, and I found a new home for our Lemkin plow. This thing I had dumped up around behind that shed that's on the far side of those trees. It was in an awkward place, didn't belong there. So I brought it down here. Our cultivator is in here, unfolded, to take the strain off the hydraulics and the joints, etc. I've been learning, I've been studying. I got a great tip from somebody about applying compost, and I was curious if you could just go buck wild with your compost, and I was told, no, you cannot. Compost is fertilizer. It's not quite topsoil. Topsoil, I guess you can put down as much as you want, but you need to be a little bit more careful with compost because it will throw the chemistry of the soil off. Great tips. I love it. This thing we bought. In fact, we can get this turned back on because we're down to 251 pounds. So we do have 20,000 liters of milk to sell, and that will put us back on about 15 grand. So we'll be okay. But for the moment, yeah, we are broke. So I bought this thing. It's the bigger of the two, but we got the horsepower for it, and I hate making trips back and forth. And what we're going to do is start in this field, and I'd like to, I think, empty out first this tanker. And the reason why is this is still on lease. We've been leasing this thing for a few days, and it's probably, like I said when I did it, probably not the best use of money. But the tanks, the field containers we own, the tanker we do not. So I filled this thing, I filled the spreader before I brought it up from the store. I stopped by the BGA and filled it. Didn't want to waste a trip, right? Always try to be efficient. So we're going to go ahead and apply one sprayer full of Digestate. Then we're going to come back and fill from the tanker. When the tanker is empty, we can either then return it or possibly get a dolly, take it down to the BGA and fill it again. But I figure since everything else is paid for and that is not, let's go ahead and make the most of that rather than going the other way and emptying the field containers while that is still on lease. Does that make sense? A lot of things make sense in my head, and then I try to say them, they don't make sense at all. Right, so this is, I think, good to go. We do have the horsepower for it. It's 150 or something. And this TW35 is on 187. And I did go ahead and find the XML files to make this sprayer more realistic. So it does have the MR functionality. And I noticed a lot of those MR XMLs actually change the volume. I think they are meant to be, because so many of the weights, and I know for implements, for things that are drawing PTO power, a lot of those values, people go to the actual websites of the manufacturers and get the real values. And I guess when people are doing that for something like this sprayer, oh, whatever it is that you call it. I mean, whatever it is that you personally call it. I call it a sprayer, but I know different people have different names for it. But I guess the people that are making these mods, when they go to the site of the company that makes this sprayer, they get the actual volume that goes in it, rather than just sort of, not that CD models or 4D modding, not that they're just throwing random values in there, but you know what I mean. They get the actual value from the manufacturer. So yeah, I find that very often the MR XMLs will change things around a little bit. And I even found one for Farmer Andy's Coda Universal pack, and it really changes a lot of the damping. It makes those trailers, those tanker trailers, not quite unsteady, but less steady, less stable. You really got to be careful with them. So I'm going to, because we don't have unlimited horsepower, I'm going to turn the spray function off while we get back up to the top of this field. And eventually we'll get there. Man, it's a weird day. It's a weird day. I realize, because I do preview these videos after I post them, just to make sure everything got uploaded okay and the sound is good and everything else. I do preview these videos, and sometimes when I do, I realize that you can more or less, like, track how old Ill Will is doing. Oh, T-Dub. Come on, buddy. Come on. We gotta carefully back up here and try to get a little side hill going. Get back to our starting point. Carefully. Ah, it wants to run away from me. There we go. Let's see if we do any better this way. Yes, more or less. I notice you can see, like, how I'm doing by not necessarily the quality of the video, but when you do one of these per day or 5 or 6 per week or whatever it is that I do, you can really, you know, it's like tree rings, except they're videos. I swear, if you could find a way to determine a score, right? Like, how's the Ill Will doing, and give a score to that video when you spread them all out and looked at them, you know, 365 at the end of a year, or however many there ended up being, you could graph it, you could chart it, and see how I'm doing. I'm doing all right. I'm not, you know, all things considered, I got nothing to complain about, but it's still, I have good days and bad days like anybody. And today is, oh well, it's not necessarily a bad day, but it's not a good day. Fortunately, it's a Friday, and as soon as I'm done with this, it is going on 1 p.m. for me right now. As soon as I'm done with this, I think I might just go ahead and start my weekend. You know what I mean? Alright, so we back this up, and yeah, let's just continue this same sort of path that we're running here. We'll, unless we're already at the top of the hill. You want to go the other way? No, let's go this way. I don't want to make too many headlands and not enough lengths. Alright, so spray down here. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, root crops and corn, because I think it's inevitable that we're going to open the pig farm. The dairy is doing well. It's doing really well, actually. The sheep haven't made us any money yet. All they've done is cost us money, but I believe come spring they're going to start making wool. And, well, in the spring they'll be making baby sheep, and then as we get further into the year they'll be making wool. And I know they'll be profitable at some point. Sheep always are, because they really don't, you don't really have to do anything with them. They sort of take care of themselves. And if that's one end of the spectrum, then pigs, I would say, would be the other end, and the dairy is somewhere in the middle. So we'll go ahead and get pigs going. I wouldn't say just for the hell of it. You know, I do want them to be if not profitable, then at least make us enough manure that we never have to buy chemical fert again. Although with our grass, I mean, we went from 7 fields to 5, but we're still going to have plenty of grass to take down to the BGA, which means plenty of silage, which means plenty of digestate, and we really haven't even come close to using what's already down there, right? So I think we've got plenty of organic fertilizer, biofertilizer, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I think we've got plenty. And I don't know that we'll necessarily need that much more from the pigs. So, I mean, we'll get it. But I don't know if that'll make a huge difference to our bottom line. I think the only way we're really going to see a profit from pigs, more than just not having to buy fertilizer, which is, I don't know, it always works out that way. Once you get pigs going, you do get manure and slurry, so you have to buy less fertilizer. But that's just, it's almost like a byproduct. Well, it literally is a byproduct. So that'll save us some money, but I think the real profit that we will derive from pigs is if we can somehow find a way to make enough of them, or to get them to make enough of themselves, that we can sell them. And I've never had good luck with that. So if I do, it'll be a first for me. But that'll be cool if we can make that happen in a series and on a map this cool. I've got to be coming up on 100 hours, if not more than that by now. But this map is so good, and I say this every few episodes. I hope I'm not repeating myself terribly. But we haven't even really scratched the surface on this map. We're focused on one area of the map, and we've got 2 farms now going out of, what, 8, 9 on the map. So there really is so much to this map, and I think it would be great for multiplayer. I think it would be great for a very long play. And I know this map came out really after 17 was not retired, but, you know, surpassed by 19. Although, I guess there's an ongoing debate about whether 19 is really a sequel to 17. But regardless, the game was already well established, or possibly even retired by the time this map came out. But had this map come out on day 1, I know that's not possible, but, you know, just bear with me. Had this map come out on day 1 of 17, I could have easily played this map for the past 2 years, 3 now, from when 17 came out. I could have made this map my not my permanent map, but I don't know. I'm not explaining it properly. This map could be the only map that I need for 17, and I know that in hindsight now. And there's no way that I could have known that when 17 came out. Not only because the map wasn't available yet, but because we didn't have that much experience with 17 as far as, you know, what it was going to turn into with all the mods and seasons and everything. But knowing now what I know, this map it's sort of the only map I really think about playing now for 17. I haven't looked at others. I downloaded some. I downloaded the old stream. I didn't really fire it up. I didn't get a save game going in there. But yeah, this map it's really special. It's a really, really good map. I don't have enough nice things to say about it. And I think we're I was hoping that we were empty enough that we could get back to our starting point here. And I think we might just about be able to. Come on, T-Dub. You got this, son. And I think we may, I mean, we're just about empty now. So maybe we'll do that one little bit right there. Save game. We'll do that one little bit right there, and then we'll refill from the tanker. Stop right there before we spray poo on the gate. We'll do this little triangle bit here. We'll refill, and then we'll head up to the field at the top of the hill, because I don't want to spray too much right around where we have our field container and our tanker until we're almost done. Right, so we'll spray that area last after we're done coming in here to refill. I think that would just be a little less messy on our equipment. And yeah, this ought to take us down just about to empty. Now, this changes things a little bit, because this sprayer started with, what did we have in here? 15,000? Well, just for the math, we'll say 15,000 liters. The tanker is 30,000. Is it not? Yeah, I want to say it's 30,000. The field container is 55,000. So just with what we have in these two containers right here, these two vessels, is enough to fill this thing 5 times, and filling it once was enough to get this field done. Which means that just what we have here is nearly enough to spray all of our fields. And we have another field container with another 55,000 liters up on top. Huh. Okay. So it turns out our spraying is going to be a little bit more efficient than I thought. If it appears that I'm just randomly driving in circles, I am not. I just got a wild hair to finish this last little bit here with the last 600 liters that we have in the sprayer. Right. I did say I'm having kind of a weird day. Bear with me. All right. So that goes right down to the end there. And that is empty. Beautiful. All right. So we'll refill here. We'll drive up to field... Is it field 6-8 at the top of the hill? Oh. They all run together. They all blur together for me. But the way the gates are positioned, it will be easy enough to exit this field through the gate and then go into 6-8 through that gate. Spray it and then come back down. You know what I mean? A reverse of how we got up there. You know what I'm saying. And we're not filling. What do we need to do here? R to refill. All right, I thought I did that. Yeah, rather than backing out of this gate to get to this field, right? And then because there's a field tank in field 6-8 as well, we have to back out of that one, and etc. We'll just do it this way. And where are we at on time? 17 minutes? Yeah. Let's just head up that way. We'll spray a little bit, see how far the tank lasts in that field, and then we'll come back down, refill from this tanker again. And there's no reason to... we won't need to refill these field containers this season, I don't think. We have enough to, I believe, spray all these fields twice with just what we have up here. So we'll get that thing taken back to the store, so we're not paying rent on it any more than we need to. Leasing fees. 13,000 liters is what we had in here, and we got damn near this whole field done. So if that works for the field up on top as well, yeah. You see what I'm getting at? I don't know that we'll be able to use Digestate fast enough to ever get on top of what's down at the BGA. Like if we were to spray every field that we owned with Digestate, I still don't think we'd use everything that's in the tank of the BGA, and it's going to get topped off again then when we put more silage in the hopper to sell for money. So yeah, and you can't sell Digestate. So I guess we just need to keep using it. Oh, we'll have to find uses for it. And I'm trying to think what we could do. I mean, what we could do... Alright, here's a possibility. What we could do is just more or less use Digestate as our only fertilizer and sell the manure that we get. Alright? Yeah, because we can't sell that. We can't sell... I don't think we can sell slurry. Hang on. Can we? Moment. So if we go here, and then here... Yeah, we can. We can sell both at the BGA. Okay. So that's a possibility, is that we take all of the manure and slurry from our dairy and eventually from our pigs, and we just sell it, right? And then we use the abundance of Digestate that we have from the BGA. We use that as our, more or less, our only fertilizer. And that might be a way to get rid of it, right? Because you see what I'm envisioning is that we'll have more Digestate than we have a need for, and it'll just continue backing up at the BGA until we can't put any more silage in the hopper because there's no place for the Digestate that it produces to go once that tank is at 100%. Okay, that's a possibility. Let's think about that. But we got time for that. And in the meantime, yeah, we'll just finish off this field. Time, 20 minutes. Yeah, I think we can finish this in 10 minutes. This one will be hopefully a little bit easier than the other one. Here, let's go back the way we came. Again, so we don't make too much of a mess right in front of our fuel tank. So we're not, essentially, so we're not driving back and forth through poo. Or at least as little as possible. So, that being the case, let's do this. It's kind of, this may not be a legitimate technique. Let's do this. Can you leave a row? Could we just leave a row of grass that hasn't been sprayed? Yeah, let's do that. And that'll be how we drive back and forth to our tank. All right. Yeah, I mean that seems pretty hokey, but I've been known to be pretty hokey. Yeah, well, and then the last thing we'll do when this tank is nearly empty is on our way out, we'll just spray that last little bit. Yeah, that seems seems more reasonable. Okay. And this thing is 3/4 full, 9 minutes. Yep, I think everything's going to work out. All right. Right down here. Yeah, I mean, we're not that close to the fence line. All right. Don't own that one either. All right, sir. Now it keeps telling me the fields I don't own, and I've been looking, as I've been working off camera, I've been looking at some of these fields and thinking about which ones I want to get next. I'm tempted to get every field on Bramble Lane just because they're so close. Last time I was out taking care of the sheep, there is a meadow out there that I was thinking might work as far as, you know, having a grass source or a place to make hay that's closer to the sheep. And I realized ultimately it would be less efficient because we'd need to take the mowers out. Well, we'd need to head out there to fertilize those fields. Then we would need to take the mowers out, then the tedder, then the rake, then the baler, and then something to either take them directly to the shed or to put them on a trailer, take the trailer to the shed. Or we can do all that over here on this side of the map where we already have all that equipment and then just take one trailer out there with the front loader and unload it out there. So it's one trip to that farm, or I guess one piece of equipment making one trip versus 7 or 8 pieces of equipment each taking one trip up to Seaview. I think that's more efficient to do it that second way. Second way? First way. Oh. To take a trailer load of bales out to Seaview rather than going out there and making hay on site. I think that makes more sense. So that's how we're going to do that, and yeah, other than that, probably the next fields that we buy will be closer to this side of the map, closer to Bramble Lane, and we'll expand out from a center point. I mean, I would love to see all the different areas of the map and have farms in the 4 corners or that sort of thing, but I feel like it's already getting to be kind of a handful, and that would probably be just about more work than I could keep up with. It's already getting a little tight sometimes, time-wise. All right. And I don't think we'll have any problem finishing this field with one 13,000-liter tank. So off camera, I'll go down and refill from that trailer, that tanker, get that, return to the store, and then we'll do everything else as far as our sort of pre-season digestate spreading. We'll do all that just from these field containers. All right. That worked out. I wasn't sure if it would, but it did. And it seems like these, whether it's because of more realistic or just because of the way the modders built them, but everything seems to be a lot less thirsty as far as digestate, slurry, manure, and compost. Everything seems to be a lot less thirsty than FS17 base game, which I appreciate. I think that's more realistic than an entire tanker of Digestate or slurry lasting for just a couple of lengths. Right. Okay. This stuff is really going to last us a long time. I think this is going to be pretty efficient. Cool. So we'll park this thing up right up here next to the tank. And we'll call it 25 minutes. Perfect. Everything worked out. Nice way to wrap up the week. All right. So we'll swing this around here and get some good sunlight on it. Right about there. Set the brake, leave the engine running because it's been working hard. We'll come out here. And we'll call it. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. This is the Western Shore. We'll see you next time. Take care now.